What's up, YouTube? Long time no see. The kid is back, and today I'm gonna do something that I've never really done before. So I'm gonna do a preview for UFC 264 McGregor versus Poirier 3. Yeah, let's just get into it. I mean, going into this fight, I feel like Dustin Poirier has like the better footwork. He has, what am I saying? The better footwork. I feel like Dustin Poirier has a really good shift. However, that shift is kind of basic, in my opinion. It's similar to the Masvidal shift that he throws, that he knocked out Darren Till with. And also, you can see it in this video. It's just, I really want to see if Conor has worked on the ground game, and I don't think he has. So I'm going with Poirier because he's good, and he's good. He's good. Because he's got the power. He did it before, and I think because he's been so active, and I think the fight with Dan Hooker, too, I think because he's been so active, he's picked up more things, and I think his mind is in the right place in terms of fighting. Because it comes down to timing and rhythm, and when you're like Conor and you haven't been fighting that much, and let alone fighting top-tier competition, like akin to Dan Hooker, I think just going to have a really hard time. And so I'm going Poirier. Okay, so I wrote here in my notes that Poirier might take this into the third round, and that Conor, if Conor wins, it's going to be in the early rounds, first or second. This is 5, isn't it? Are they fighting? They should be fighting 5. So next on the card we have Gilbert Burns versus Stephen Wonderboy Thompson. And for this fight, I really noticed that Gilbert Burns moves in straight lines. Like, I don't know if anyone in his camp has told him this, and I know he does great work, like all those videos on UFC Countdown, but he moves just straight back and forth and sort of in like a traditional sort of, like a T. You know, he's just back and forth, left and right. And I feel like against Wonderboy, that's going to be a problem. And I feel like it's not similar to Jeff Neal. Really, it's not. But I feel like in the Jeff Neal fight, you see what happens clearly when fighters can't really move. And for Gilbert Burns, he's got to use the ring craft, as they say. He's got to use his footwork to corner Wonderboy, but that's not easy. I'm saying this like, oh yeah, you just go out there and go get Stephen Thompson. No. I think Burns needs to work the jab. Like, just really work the jab, touch him up, and maybe even kick a kicker. And that's kind of dangerous, though, committing to kicks. But I think this is Gilbert Burns. I think Gilbert Burns really has a chance, but he has to fight pretty well. He has to fight smart and capitalize on the opportunities given to him. And for Wonderboy, I feel like we already know this, but this man's like really one of the greats. And I don't know if we give him his flowers as much, but this guy is insane. He's almost 40. Dude's still out here running around with his dynamic footwork. He fights really well with mobility. He's really good at staying out of takedowns, like staying off the ground. The only thing I have to say is that he doesn't have as much power as I think he would like, even, where I feel like a lot of his fights end up going the distance. And I feel like against someone like Gilbert Burns, that can be really treacherous, especially with jiu-jitsu players, because I feel like they see fights I don't know. I just feel like jiu-jitsu players are always looking for submissions and chokes in different ways that traditional kickboxers and boxers wouldn't necessarily see. And for that reason, Wonderboy going the distance could favor Burns. Then again, there is the aspect of getting frustrated if you're Gilbert Burns, not being able to take this guy down. But it's going to be really interesting because I think Wonderboy's going to go the distance and win. And the only way for Burns to really win would be by just quick ground and pound, maybe even like a leg kick. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, almost like an Anderson Silva type situation. We're not going to put that out there, but I don't see Burns having a lot of advantages on the feet, and I think it's going to be hard to get Wonderboy down, and so for that one, I'm going Wonderboy by decision. Then we have Greg Hardy versus Tai Tuivasa. I don't like Greg Hardy. Greg Hardy can lose. I hope Greg Hardy gets knocked out. So, Tai Tuivasa all the way by first round vicious KO. Yeah, Tai Tuivasa all the way. Next up is Sean O'Malley versus Chris Moutinho. I'm so sorry. For O'Malley, I think this is a really good opportunity because he's fighting on a McGregor card. Similar to Michael Chandler, except, not an introduction, but more like a... What do we even call this, man? Like, just the usual can crushing. Just the usual. Here's your can. Go out and crush him, Sean. That being said, though, he fights really interestingly. He moves beautifully. It's really cool to watch him work because you can almost see him in his mind trying to set up his more spectacular knockouts. And I rock with that. I'm not going to lie. He's out there giving us a show. Sort of like Nick Kyrgios if you watch tennis. But do I think he's ever going to win the title? Not really. Not unless he gets propped up like Chandler. Key for Sean O'Malley is to make it look good, don't get injured. Make it look good, don't get injured. Nah, he's going to knock this guy out, get the bag, KO the fight of the night, and get out of there. Next up, Nico Price versus Michel Pereira. Pereira? Pereira. Michel Pereira. Michel. No. Pereira. No. Alright. Nico Price versus Michel Pereira. This fight is really interesting because it's two crazy dudes who are willing to fight. That being said, though, Michel works off of counters and awkward movements, and I think he has really good, controlled aggression, and he uses his sort of, awkward, almost like capoeira freestyle dance style, movements to really confuse fighters and use, weird angles to throw, straights and hooks. And I also think Michel's knees are going to be key for this fight because Nico Price in the past has been caught, not blatantly, but he's been bumped in the stomach with some knees in a clinch. And I feel like if Michel can really work that, he can win this fight. That being said, Nico Price has insane aggression. I've almost never seen someone fight like this, where this guy is just insane. He doesn't care. He's willing to bang. And I like that. That being said, though, I think Michel Pereira is going to win because he has more submissions. Michel has 7 submission wins compared to Nico Price's 3. Both of them have 10 knockouts, though. I just think the only problem for Michel would be mistakes, and he's got to work the ground game. And he's got to just fight clean. One more thing about Michel Pereira and Nico Price. I think Price could win by stoppage if he's able to get his aggression going, but in the later rounds. I think Michel has a questionable gas tank at times and a questionable just decision making at times. And I don't mean to be mean, but that the Diego Sanchez fight where he's kneeing the dude on the floor and it's like, dude, you were winning the entire fight. So I think if Nico Price can work his aggression effectively into the later rounds, he could win. But it's like, we're fighting 3 rounds, boys. I think someone like Michel, if you take him to 3 rounds, I just feel like that's dangerous and you might lose on points just because of how good of a counter fighter Michel can be at times. Carlos Conor versus Max Griffin, I think. Was that his name? Yes. I think Condit wins in a landslide there. He's just too good. Not too good, but I think his experience, another crazy person willing to fight, and I feel like Max Griffin can be kind of tentative at times, though he does have power. I feel like he kind of gets a little reserved, whereas Condit will just go say I'm gonna go punch you, I'm gonna go get you, and it's worked to his benefit throughout his career, even though his record is. Well, I come from boxing, so his record looks really bad in boxing terms. But anyway, Condit, first round, early second. Ryan Hall versus Ilya Topuria. I actually really think this is a sleeper fight, and I know all the nerds at home are like, hey, like Ryan Hall's fighting again. So, the thing about Ryan Hall, if people don't know, he fights from the bottom and on his back, which is called pulling guard. And that is really creepy because in MMA, people don't like to really fight on their back. And I mean, like, most people don't. Like, I don't know. I don't know about you, but if I get into a fight, I don't want to be on my back. And this guy, Ryan Hall, sort of welcomes it. That's why they call him the Wizard. He's also really dangerous in terms of his leg locks. He can wrap people up in like ways that are pretty creative, in my opinion. His fight against BJ Penn is a great example of that, where he just slid in and, you know, took that man's ligaments. So now this Ilia Topuria guy, this kid, I think he's a really good boxer, in my opinion. I don't know about really good. He has good hands. He can throw really fast. He works the Michael Chandler body-head combo where he's, you know, jabbing the body and then just overhand right to the head. And his ground game is okay. He gets into good guillotine positions, doesn't always finish them, but I think against Ryan Hall, it's like, what are you doing, bro? You're not gonna sub this guy. So the kid's pretty good though at aggression and throwing. He can really throw hands. The kid also has a really good body uppercut that I notice he throws pretty well, and I think that can really deter takedowns. Honestly, hot take here. I wouldn't be surprised if Ryan Hall gets upset. I'm a big fan, but I do think that this kid does have some aspects that he could exploit Ryan Hall with. Like, I'm not really so confident on Ryan Hall's hands, even though I think he has like a knockdown. I think it might even be like a head kick knockdown. I'm just not so confident in his stand-up. His BJJ is insane though. Like, insane. So, if Ryan Hall can slow down the fight, and like I said with BJJ players, it's like they look at it different, and they see things even standing up differently. And I think not similar to Gilbert Burns, because I feel like Ryan Hall is fighting against someone who's not nearly as good, but Ryan Hall certainly can lock this kid up if he makes a mistake, and I think that this kid probably will make a mistake, even though he's undefeated. I just think Ryan Hall has pretty good experience, been in the UFC a while, and it could be a quick sub here. Is Dirkus Duplessis and Trevin Giles. Quickly, I'm just going to say Duplessis, I don't know much about him. However, Giles had an amazing escape from a rear naked choke on like a UFC undercard fight night maybe. Ever since then, I've been a fan. I don't care. I'm just looking for this man to escape some submissions. And, yeah, that'll do it. Check back later, see if I was right. If you like this video, please help me out and subscribe. Give me a like. If I get even one like, I'll do this again for the next fight. And, yeah, thanks. Peace.